Okay, what if you could save a bunch of cash, like a significant amount, in just 1 month? And at the same time, figure out the real reasons you spend money? Well, we're going to dive into a personal finance experiment that did exactly that. And you might be surprised. The results are way more about psychology than you did.
You know that feeling, right? You look at your bank account and just, where did it all go? You got paid, you paid your bills, you lived your life, and then bam, a huge chunk of money has just vanished. Well, one person got tired of that mystery and decided to try something pretty radical to solve it.
So here was the idea. It sounds simple, but trust me, it's tough. For 30 straight days, the mission was to buy absolutely nothing unless it was a bare necessity. That means no impulse buys, no little treats, none of those, oh, I'll just get this purchases.
So, just so we're all on the same page, this is what a no spend challenge is all about. It's not about being broke, it's about having money but making a conscious choice not to spend it on anything that isn't a total essential. It's basically like a hard reset for your wallet and your brain.
Okay, so for something like this to actually work, you need super clear rules, right? The essentials were pretty obvious. Rent, utilities, gas for the car, that stuff was in. But here's where it gets tricky. Groceries were allowed, but, and this is a big one, that meant zero eating out. At all. And yeah, you could keep your current subscriptions, but signing up for anything new? Absolutely not. But let's be real. Having rules is the easy part. Sticking to them when you're out in the real world with all its temptations, that's a whole different ballgame. And this is where the struggle really kicked in. And man, did the plan clash with reality. You know, the idea of I'll cook every meal sounds so noble. But what about that Tuesday when you're slammed at work, you're starving, and you realize you forgot to pack a lunch? Suddenly, the urge for takeout is screaming at you. Or that morning coffee run you do on autopilot. It's not just a coffee anymore, it's a massive test of your willpower. The whole experiment really just shined a spotlight on how many of these little purchases weren't choices at all. They were just habits. So you can't just rely on willpower. You gotta get strategic. It came down to this three-step pivot. First, you have to get creative. That means making your own fancy coffee at home and actually packing your lunch every single day. Second, you gotta find free ways to have fun. Instead of hitting the mall, you go for a walk in the park or visit the library. And third, this one is the real game changer. You start to question what a need even is. You just delay buying something that's not urgent, and you'd be shocked how often that I need this feeling just fades away. But then something really interesting happened. About halfway through the month, there was a shift. It wasn't just this constant battle against temptation anymore. It started turning into something deeper. And this right here, this quote, it really gets to the heart of the whole thing. The goal wasn't just about saving money anymore, it was about understanding why the money was being spent. That forced pause created the space for real clarity. It turned out the spending wasn't just about buying stuff. It was a reaction to being bored or stressed or just a social habit. The focus totally flipped from what was being bought to why. And that's the real transformation, isn't it? This wasn't just about breaking a few bad habits. It was a full-on identity shift. The label of being a spender got replaced with something new, a conscious consumer, someone who's actually in control and intentional with their money. Okay, so the mindset shift is huge, I get it. But I know what you're all thinking. Show me the money, right? So let's talk about the cold, hard cash. What were the actual, tangible results? So this is it, the moment of truth. After 30 days of being super diligent, getting creative, and fighting off every single urge for that daily coffee or that easy takeout lunch, what was the grand total? What was the actual impact on the bank account? $742. Just let that sink in for a second. In 1 month, that's how much money was saved just by stopping the non-essential spending. That's a serious chunk of change that, before this whole thing, was just evaporating, leaking out through all those tiny, mindless purchases day after day. And look, that number is awesome. It's really impressive. But the crazy thing is, the experiment proved the biggest takeaway wasn't even the cash sitting in the bank account. No, the real lasting benefits were all about perspective. It gave a totally new view on needs versus wants. It actually reduced decision fatigue, that mental exhaustion from making too many choices. It even created this new appreciation for stuff that was already owned. But most importantly, it gave back a feeling of being in the driver's seat, a powerful sense of financial control. So forget about that 700 bucks for a minute and think about this. If you hit pause on your own spending for 30 days, what would you discover? What story is your bank account really telling? Maybe a little challenge of your own is the only way to find out.